Hello everybody! Welcome back to another Shadowverse Worlds Beyond video! So today we're going to cover the latest announcement that they did for the next set in Worlds Beyond. I won't be covering every single little thing of course, but I will be covering most of the stuff that may be important to you guys. Just like the cards. But before we get into the cards, I just want to point out some stuff that they've included in the announcement that may interest you. So, first off, which is a big surprise, they made the daily quests way easier for casual players. They nerfed the amount of games you need to win rank matches and all that. So this is gonna be like a really good change for all the people that don't have enough time or have a lot of games to play or plan to do something else but don't want to miss out on rewards. That's a really good change. And I'm really surprised they did it that fast. And moving forward, we have another thing that they're giving us, and it's another starter deck. The set that we got, right? The free pack that we got when we started the game, they're giving us another one. And it's gonna be on this new set. So what does this mean? Right? It means that every set that they'll be doing moving forward, this is an assumption by the way, this is an assumption, will include a starter deck, which is insane because that's one of the things that we were concerned about when when we started the game. We're like, oh, is this free to play friendly? Are they gonna give up like a lot of rewards in the long run? Will we be able to make decks on future sets? And with this, I think this kind of answers like some of our concerns. Not fully, but I'm really optimistic about it. So yeah. And then one of my favorite changes that they're adding back is Take Two. So if you guys don't know what Take Two is basically card drafting mode where you're given a choice to choose two cards multiple times until you have a full deck. They're also adding a rank mode to this, so it's a nice for variety for anybody who's tired of playing net decks all day in standard. So yeah, I've always liked this because I've always thought that playing the same decks over and over again might drive me crazy since I play a lot. And it's also a great mode for people who don't have cards, because I'm pretty sure, at least in Shadowverse 1, you don't need to buy the cards to gain access to the Take Two cards, meaning you can like go in as somebody who doesn't have any cards and play like the craft that you didn't have cards for, which is a nice touch. Though random, it still gives you like a taste of like the craft. And who knows, maybe you actually end up investing into like a certain craft that you didn't play before just because you got a taste of it in Take Two. And of course, with the new set, they're also gonna release a new battle pass. This time around, we're getting an alt art for a card called Neptune, if I'm like not mistaken, and the usual resource rewards, and we're also getting a sword leader that looks like a Crucible Knight. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know the name, but yeah, like I didn't really bother to know more about the knight leader. All I know is I'm sticking with my waifu leader. So yeah. Now, the most important news of the day will be, of course, it's not other than the first ever girl leader for Dragoncraft, and it's gonna be Phine. Finally, I got to say that correctly. As you can see on the screen, they have a very interesting card art. They have a very interesting design. Smiley face. This is also the same Phine that we had in Shadowverse 1. Similar effects as well. Right, so just like the other exchange ticket like characters that we have, we also get an alt art and a home screen. Yep, I might invest in their stock after this trailer actually. So yeah, just like the others as well, you get a chibi, really nice, and she always does a blowing kiss animation. Yeah, that's really good. So yeah, rejoice dragon players, for you'll actually have a girl leader this time around. Feline fit jokes aside though, let's get right into the cards they revealed thus far. First off, we have Odin. Odin is a 7-mana 4/2 storm unit that banishes an enemy card on the field. So, why is this card really important? It's because it finally gives everybody, since it's a neutral card, an answer to amulets, because back then we didn't have any ways to interact with it. Now we have. And also last word units, though this can't really affect aura units because it's a targeted fanfare. But it's still a huge addition to the game, and who knows, maybe they add more like cards like Odin that's lower cost. Since, you know, never had this type of card in set 1, it's nice that they're adding it in set 2. So next up though is Sword. They only revealed one card for Sword, and it's Gildaria. It's a 6 mana 4/4 card that when it evolves, it summons 2 Steel-clad Knights with Rush. So 2/2/2s with Rush. And every time a unit comes into the field, it does 1 damage to all enemy followers. So if this card gets evolved, it's basically plus like 2 damage. It's gonna be like 2 damage to the field on top of the 2/2 rushes. And every time like you put an additional unit, it triggers the effect again. And another thing about Gildaria is it evolves for free when you hit Rally 20. So what do I think about this card? First off, it's a guy. Alright? I got bamboozled on live on stream today. So yeah, Gildaria's a guy, alright? First off. He's cute though. But moving on. I have high hopes for this card because it introduces us to a mechanic that was also in Shadowverse 1, which was Rally. Right. So in case you don't know what Rally is, it's basically the number of units that you spawned in the game, you summoned in the game. For example, if you played a Luminous Magus, which is gonna be 4 units summoned with 1 card, that's a +4, right? If you do the Goblin 5 mana card, you get 5. So yeah, that's how Rally works. It's very simple actually. Do I think this card is strong? I think it's promising, but it will entirely depend on what the other cards they introduce to support this card. And I definitely think they would need this because kinda looks like you're going to need a lot of removal this set. So yeah, right. Too early to call, right? It's like 1 card out of many. I think that's gonna be centered around Rally, but I'm kinda excited for it. So yeah. Next up, we have Phine. Wow, finally said it right. So Phine is a 2 mana 2/2 with Bane that deals 1 damage to the entire enemy board when you evolve her. And it also gives you a White Frost Whisper as a fanfare effect when you're in Overflow. Just remember, when you're not in Overflow, you're not gonna get the White Frost Whisper card. And the reason why this is important is because White Frost Whisper has like 2 things that it can do. It can either destroy all of the damage cards in the field, which combos well with like Phine's evolve effect, and it can also increase the cost of your opponent's hand by 1 until the end of their turn. And I think this card might be one of the best counters to one of the most oppressive decks at the moment that we have in set 1, which is Roach. Right? Being able to literally deny turns from somebody in the current fast-paced meta will be huge, since Ramp Dragon desperately needs help in being able to get to the late game more consistently in order to play big units. This is an awesome card in my opinion, 100% a must craft, right? You can't go wrong with Phine. You just can't go wrong with this card. Like, this card will support Ramp, right? 100% if you're into that. Other archetypes I can't really say because we haven't seen more, but for Ramp Dragon, this is 100% a must-have in my opinion. I would argue that you'll have this card regardless of what deck you're running, just because it literally just denies somebody like a turn, right? Because of the huge that +1 mana cost in the enemy hand. Next up, another card that was revealed was Ginsetsu and Yuzuki. Yo, we got another pair of lesbians like Ann and Greya. Alright, so what does Ginsetsu and Yuzuki does? It's a 9 mana 5/9 Abysscraft card. 9 mana that either summons 4 copies of a one-tailed fox or destroys 4 random enemy followers. After you destroy 4 random enemy followers, you also restore 4 health. So, you can only choose one of this. So, the fox has been buffed from what it was in Shadowverse 1. Instead of being a 1/3, it's now a 2/3. It still has Russian Ward. And it also gives +1 to Ginsetsu and Yuzuki whenever any of the foxes die. Right? So what do I think about this card? It's pretty good. It's a 9 cost card, by the way, just a reminder. So this card seems good, but since they haven't shown us more cards, we can't really assume how good this will be, because Abysscraft on its own right now, if you play it as control, it kind of sucks because it doesn't really have a lot of good cards for finishing the game outside of Cerberus. And if you're gonna play Cerberus, you might as well play mid-range, right? This Ginsetsu Yuzuki card looks like it can like fit alongside Serbi, but like I think it's gonna be more of a controller's card, right? I could be wrong, of course. And if they finally fix the problem of Abyss not having a strong turn 6 and a win con outside of Cerberus, right? Like until they do that, I can't really say for certain that we finally would have a different way of playing Abysscraft. So yeah, as it stands, it looks like it's something supposed to help control, but we'll have to see what more they add in order to make it like, you know, playable. Next up is Runecraft. We finally have gotten some support for like one of my favorite like archetypes in Runecraft, which is Earthright, right? The card that they got is called Lilantim. Hopefully I pronounced that right. She's an 8 mana 5/5. She has aura, meaning she can be interacted with Odin and other targeting stuff, with the last word of summoning herself again by paying some stacks of Earthright. So it kind of reminds me of Mordecai in Shadowverse 1, right? Like that card also had aura, right? Where you can target it with targeted spells and stuff. And when it dies, it summons itself again. But this time around, though, it requires you to pay Earthright sigils. So every time you kill her, right? Every time you kill her, the Earthright sigil count of the opponent or you would be reduced by 2. Okay? Her super evolve effect destroys 2 units, so she can basically store 3 units if we count the unit she's hitting. This card having aura makes it so Odin can banish her. So the way you deal with her is either killing her multiple times until the Earthrights are all spent up, or banish her in a different way. Like for example, let's say for Heavencraft, you can use the Iron Priest super evolve effect to like banish her after the fact that you made her like 3 HP. So that's one way that's available for us. I bet like they're gonna release more cards that gonna, you know, that's gonna like give us more options to deal with this card. On its own though, it doesn't really just solve the issue of Earthright. And I think the issue of Earthright at the moment is it doesn't have a reliable finisher outside of Q110. And I'm kind of excited what cards they add, so we can actually finally see a complete version of the Earthright deck. And sadly, they didn't show any Force and Portalcraft cards, so until they release them, like, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out on the latest news about the new set. And with that said, let's talk about the final cards, that we'll be talking about. And it's gonna be, one of them is gonna be Wilbert. Just like in Shadowverse 1, he's a card that literally is supposed to enable an entire archetype of Heavencraft, and that is Ward Haven. Now you know what I mean by needing a lot of removal, like when I mentioned it in the sword segment, right? Because Ward Haven is back. So why is Ward Haven back, and what does Wilbert do? He's a 6 mana 4/6 with Ward, with the last word effect of summoning 2 Holy Cavaliers. Holy Cavaliers are basically just 1/2 wards, but what makes Wilbert special is its crest, right? When you evolve, Wilbert, it gives you a permanent crest that gives any ward unit summoned +1 and +2. Meaning, after you destroy Wilbert, you have to deal with 2 2/4 wards instead of 1/2 wards. This card legit makes a lot of the cards that we ignored in set 1 for Heavencraft suddenly usable, if not a must run. So here's a demonstration of how the card works alongside some other cards that they revealed.
There's no salvation for me or anyone.
Repent.
Leave me alone. My burden to bear.
Evil doesn't stand a chance against me. Me? Are you sure? Ding dong, ding dong.
So yeah, it's kind of insane. Also, the two new cards that you saw in the clip were the Cleric of Crushing. She's a 3 mana 2/4 with Ward. That's evolve effect is to destroy a super evolved enemy as an evolve effect. So it's kind of like a hard counter to any super evil cards that hides behind the pesky Ward Orcus. And the other card is Cheretta, a neutral 2 mana 2/2 card that becomes a 2 mana 2/5 when super evolved phase begins. Now, for these last two cards that I showed, I'm not sure if these are correct, but this is what like the community has sent me, right? Regarding these last two cards that was shown on the clip, it's pretty like correct though from based on observation, but of course just do know things can change, right? Things are subject to change, I'm pretty sure, and if you see a different card on release, like I just want you to know that that might be the case, you know, that can happen. So yeah, so overall, what do you think about what they showed with set 2 so far? Pretty simple. They're going towards a slower game, and I think with these cards, that's something that I can appreciate, since most of the high elo games lately just have been filled with like Roach or counters to Roach, which is basically like Face Dragon, you have Kagemitsu Sword, you have Forest Roach, and then if you're not fighting that, you're fighting like Artifact Portal and Rune that just sit back and like, you know, play towards their win con in the late game. So yeah, it's kind of nice to have some different like things to deal with in the ladder. And of course, we can't say anything is certain yet since they only revealed less than 10 cards total. So I would have to ask you guys, like, what do you guys think about set 2 so far? Let me know down in the comments below. And as a last note, they're also gonna give us some release mission rewards for when the set goes live. So that's a lot of pulls, and yeah, pretty much a lot of free stuff coming our way on top of all of the new content they have planned. Hope you guys enjoyed this video coverage, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.